All right. So thank you. Thanks for joining today's session. So what I will basically talk about is the SQL Server backups. Uh, this is the session on other session that I've taken just on the basics of SQL servers. I'm not covering any lot of advanced topics. The objective is that a lot of people who want to learn SQL Server, they can learn, and that's my objective basically. For people who are fresh and want to update their skills, they can learn. So today I'll just talk about backups within SQL Server. I will not be talking about any snapshot backups or any backups using any tools. That's the what I'll be covering. So this is uh, yeah. So what I'm going to cover today is we'll talk about the various types of backups. So we'll talk about full backups, then I'll talk about transaction log backups, then differential backups, then file backups, and then file group backups and partial backups. And then we'll talk about copy-only backups. And then I will show how to set up Ola Harlequin scripts. These are standard SQL Server backup scripts that can be used to take backups. So I will show how to download them and set them up on your system and take backups. And then how to speed up your backups. So like if you have bigger databases, what options you can tweak within SQL Server to speed up your backups. So that is quite useful. So we'll do that. And anytime you have any questions, you can stop me and I'll try and answer all those questions. So yeah, let's get started. So uh, full backups. So the first thing we talk about is full backups. These are backups which take the backup of the entire database. It will contain all your views, security, users, everything of the database. It is takes everything in your database, all the objects that are there. It will take backups of that. So this is like if you want to move your database, you just take that backup and you can move it around. So it's a complete backup of your database, and it's one of the most important things that you need to do. Then what it does is how does it get a consistency? For example, you have a uh, database which users are making changes to, right? So how does it know when it starts the backup, right? It will take some time and it jumps those 8K pages within SQL Server to a file, right? That's what it is doing basically uh, for full backup. So it is just dumping all the files, pages that you have to a file that you specify. So it will take some time, right? So how does it get a consistent state when it's ended? So what SQL Server will do when it starts the backup, it will issue a checkpoint. And I'm sure you know what a checkpoint is. The checkpoint is a process where all your committed transactions are moved to the MDF file. So, and it will mark that log sequence number. So it will mark it that these are the issue a checkpoint and mark that log sequence number and know that this is where I started. And keep taking backup from the MDF file. And so while you people can keep working on your database, as you know, all the changes that we are making are being written to the transaction log, right? And once it's done the backup, entire backup from the MDF, it will also back up the part of the transaction log. So that way, whatever changes have been made since it started taking backup. So that way, when you restore, it has a consistent state. So it will apply all the uh, pages that it has taken from the MDF file and then apply the log file. So that the backup it has taken. So that way, it achieves a consistent state. So your database is a consistent state at the end of the backup process. The full backups do not truncate the inactive portion of the transaction log. The transaction log will remain as it is. It doesn't truncate any transaction log. Why that is done is, for example, you have a situation where you take a full backup and you're taking regular transaction log backups. And you take a second backup, and what happens is when you're going to do a restore, uh, so when you want to do a restore and your second backup is corrupted, right? So you can go to your first backup and apply all the transaction logs and get to a consistent state. So otherwise, if your full backup was truncating a transaction log, that would not be possible. So that's why this feature is there. And so we can go back to as long the earlier backups if your full backups are corrupted and apply all the transaction log backups. So as long as you have all the transaction log backups, you should be able to recover your database. So that's the thing. Any questions on this one? So I'll show you how to take full backups. So let's go to SSMS. So just have a quick demo on that. Right. So this is my local SQL server. From the SSMS, it's quite simple. So you just do a right click, okay, and you go to tasks and you say backup, and you just write files and file groups. I can go to that. Sorry. We want to take the entire database backup. That's what we do here. And you add the backup to a device or URL. URL is when you want to take a backup to a storage account that you have on cloud. So that is also possible. I'll not be showing that. I could show that it's anybody interested. So later, so I'll just remove this one and I'll add another one device because I don't want it to go to a default location. So I will just change that to my. So whenever you click here, it will take you to the default backup location, and how you set that, I'll also show you that also. So let's first I'll show you how to take it to a different location. So you go to say I want to go into D drive backups. I have backups. I want to take a backup, and here you give the file name. So I'll just say ed1.back. You can name it anything that you want, but that is the standard convention .bak. So BAK, so that people know that you're taking a backup file. This is a backup file. So you just click on OK here and click OK. Right. So that's the quickest and the fastest. That's backup is done. Way of doing it. I'll also show you how to do it through TSQL commands, and all other demos will be in TSQL commands because that's faster and I like doing that way. So let's see. So yes, we can do this also. So this is a simple command. So you just do a backup to you just give the disk and the place where you want it to go, the location. That's all. So that's all how you can take backup. And as a small database, it's quite fast. There are a lot of other options in the backup command, and you can have a look like there are like stats. So you can want to say with stats is equal to 10. So it will keep telling you how much it is done. So this is another command that you can use. So like if you have a bigger database, it's quite fast here. So every 10% it will tell you how much is done. So this is done. So if you have a bigger database, you could give that to know how much percent is done. So that's about the full backups. Then I'll just go back to the presentation. So now let's just talk about that's about full backups. On that. The next is the transaction log backup. These are very important. These are only possible in case of if your database is in full recovery or a bulk insert recovery model. It is not there in simple recovery model. This is to provide point-in-time recovery. So, for example, what happens? You have a database and someone goes and runs an update command at say 5 p.m. and you want to recover data till 4:55. And if you don't have any transaction log backups, you will not be able to recover your data till that point in time. With using transaction log backups, if you have, you could recover it to that point in time. So that's what it is very useful for. And the active portion of the transaction log is truncated each time. Inactive, sorry, not active, inactive portion of the transaction log is truncated each time you take a transaction log backup. So this is only on these two recovery model. And yeah, so that way your transaction log is remains in the right current size, otherwise it keeps growing. So you might have seen a problem where your transaction log is filling up. So you may need to make sure you have the backup setup. So I have seen environments where people have databases in full and they don't have any transaction log backups. So you need to make sure that you have transaction log backups set up for those databases which are in full or bulk recovery. So I'll just show you a demo how to run a transaction log backup. What is the command? So let's just quickly go there. Okay. Okay. So first I'll just show you. So let's see the recovery model. So it is showing me these databases, and let me maximize this. Just close this one. So my database, this is, for example, this is in my test one in simple. So what I'll just do is I'll try to take a backup of that, right? So if I say take a backup of my database, my test one, which is in simple. It will give me an error. Oh, sorry. This is a full backup. Sorry. So I need to say backup. To take a log backup, you say backup log, right? And you just say underscore log backup. So you just run that, right? So it will not allow you to take a backup. So say while the recovery model is simple, so it will not try to let you take a transaction log backup, right? Let us take a backup of another one, another backup. So let's run this. So let's say my test is in full. So let me take a log backup of that. So I have this, my test three. So I'll just take a full backup first. That's the same command that we ran earlier. So now if I do a log backup, let me run a log backup. So I'll show you the files. It will be very small. If I go into the backups that I had. So here we have the file. The log files are usually very small. So you could run them quite often, and that would help you also keep your transaction log inside in right size. Any questions till now? Anyone have any questions on this topic? All right. Okay. So we'll move on to the next one. Yes. So next is the differential backup. These are quite important ones. And again, well, how they work, I'll just explain. These back up all the extents. So in SQL Server, each extent is made of 8K pages. So that is basically 64 kilobytes. So each extent, whatever extent have changed since the last full backup. So how it manages that is, so once we have taken a full backup, it will start marking any extent that we change. So we do an insert or a delete, anything that we do, it will mark that extent as changed. So there is a bit which will say, okay, this has changed in the last backup. So it will say this is a differential bitmap. So it will be turned to 1. When you take a full backup again, that will be turned back to 0. Uh, what happens is if you take a first, for example, if you have a setup where you're taking a full backup on Monday, and sorry, Sunday, and then you take a potential backup on Monday. And so what it will have is all the changes since Sunday till Monday. And if you go and take a backup, differential backup on Tuesday, it will have all the changes since Sunday, not from Monday, right? So it will always, a differential backup will always have changes since the last full backup. So each night, if you're checking on Wednesday, Thursday, your differential backup size will keep increasing. Just keep that in mind while planning your backup strategy. Uh, so you can use differential backups with any of the recovery models. And so that is what you can do. So I'll just show you how to take a differential backup quickly. So let me just jump in. Just a second. Okay, so let me just this. So differential. So my test one, which you saw, is in a simple recovery model. So I'll just show you again. So let's like so that my test database is in simple. So I should be able to do a differential backup. So I'll just show you that. So it's very simple how to do a differential backup. You just say with differential. That's all will run a differential backup. So let's run that. Right. So this is taken a differential backup of that database. I didn't make any changes much, so that file should be very small. So let's go ahead and have a look at the backup. So my differential backup is very small. It's 2 KB. That's all it is. 2 MB. Sorry, that's all it is. Right. So that's what it will be now. That's about the differential backups. Quick to on the differential backup. Any questions anyone have? Stop again. Okay. Right. Next one is again. I'll just talk about this one. Back. Right. That's differential backup. Then there is another option is called file backups. This is like within SQL Server, you have your MDF file and NDF files. You can have multiple files. This can be used to take backups of individual files. This is what you could do in case you have a database which has a very large table or something like that. you put that database so table separately on a database on a different file and file group, and then you take the backup of that specific file. Uh, the advantage is that it will be faster rather than taking the entire database backup. So it will be faster than that. Uh, it is useful only if you have multiple files. And what advantage it has in terms of restore is you don't have to restore the entire database. So all the users will not be offline. So people only who are accessing that specific file will be offline. Other people can keep working. So that is the advantage that this has in terms of taking backups, right? So this is in terms of restore. That's the advantage you have if you use file backups. So I'll just quickly show you how it works. One second. Right. So let's go back and okay, so I have right. I'll just show you. I have one database which has files, multiple files. So let's say these are all my databases. This one has multiple files. Let me show you. Yeah. So, yeah, file group test. This has multiple files. So I'll just try and take a backup of this file. If I want file test FG2, that is the one I want to take backup of. So we just say, right, we just say backup database. What is the database name? Right? And the file name. So I'm going to take the file is file the FC test. So this is the file which I want to take backup of. This is the logical file name. That's what we want, right? So that's what we have to use. And you can just say that and run this backup. So this is just how you take the file backup. So this is as simple as that, taking a backup of a file within your database. So this is how you take a file backup. Uh, so any questions on this one? Before we move to the next one. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next one that I want to show. Right. Next is the file group backup. In this, if you have different files within a file group, you can specify the entire file group and take the backup of that file group. Again, it can so that is what you can do. Okay, so what you can do is, for example, you in your database you can create a read-only file group, and where users, so you put your objects which people are just selecting, and they are not doing any inserts and updates. You don't take backup of that one, and you have another file group which people are making any changes. You can take a backup of that. Keep taking a backup of that. And in case of a disaster recovery, people who are doing reads can keep working, and you can just restore the file group where you had read and write operations. So this is useful in that kind of scenario. Again, you do restores without taking the entire database offline. So this is the advantage. And again, the speed will be faster because you're not backing up the entire database. So that's the file group backup. I'll show you how to take that one. So let me show you. So again, okay. Now, this is the file group backup. So I have this database called file group test, backup test. So I'll just use that one, right? And I'll just take it for. So these are the file. So we have one file group. So right. So this file group this is the default group ID means one means this is the default file group, and this is the other file group which I have one file called file3, but I want to take backup of this file group. And so I'll just show you the file groups as well, so that the names that it can be. So I have a file group called fg2, which ID is 2, and which is this one, which has this file. So I want this. This is, for example, maybe my read write file group where people are writing. So I just want to take backup of this one. So what I do is just do this. Okay. This command is take the file backup of the primary file, right? So if I say primary name, you take the backup of primary, where your people are reading and writing, and or also you can do file group too. So I did. Let's do a backup of primary first, and then you can do the other one as well. So this is taking a backup of primary file group, and it'll tell you, this is where it is tell you this is a file group backup, right? This is, you can know this, you're doing a file group backup. So if I don't wanted to do a file group one, I can just change this command. Say that one, that's right. One second. This is okay. Sorry. Let me just check that again. Okay, so it's called file group two. I was giving the wrong name, that it was not working. So I'll just right. So that's how you can take file group backups. Uh, any questions anyone has? Anything that let me look at the chat. Okay, restores I will do in the next session. Today I'm just concentrating on backups. Okay, so we can do all your file backups. So that's a good question. I'll cover that in the next one. Okay, so in what scenarios you can use file group backups? So Naveen, for example, you have a very large database where you have read writes also going, like very important tables, which maybe uh, you don't want them to be offline for a longer time. So you can put that table in a separate file group, take that backup, and if your database, if anything happens to that file group, so you can take backup of that file, keep taking backup of that file group. It will be faster. You don't want for the entire database thing to finish off. So you just take backup of that file group, and if in case something goes wrong, you can just restore that file group. Other people can keep working, right? So that way your restore will be faster. You're just restoring one table if that file group has just one table. So that in that kind of scenario, you can plan and work with that. Does that answer your question? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let me go on. That's the file group backups. Now, next one we'll do is copy only. So let me go back. Right. So next we'll do is partial backups. This is another backup similar to the file group backups, but this is slightly different. This is you just say partial. SQL Server will look at uh, what read-write file groups you have or read-only file groups, and it will go and back up all your read-write backups. Okay, so read-write file groups. It will not back up your read-only file groups. It will go and back up your read-write file groups. So what you if you change a file group from read-only to read-write, it will be included in the next backup. And if you change it from read-write to read-only, it will not be included next time. So basically, what it is doing is you specify which is your read-only file group and read-write file group, and say I want a partial backup. It will go and look at those file groups and say, okay, this guy is read write. I'll take a backup. Read only, it will just ignore those ones. So this is similar to your file group backup, but this is automatically deciding which ones to take. In file group backups, we were specifying which file group to save. So this is like an automatic file group backup, I would say. Right. So let's have a look how we do this one. So okay. So again, so we just say uh, it will say read write file groups. This is the command you need to give for partial backups. It will just take a partial backup. That's all the command is there. So just run that. That's how you can take a file partial backup. It will decide, SQL Server will decide which files to backup, which file groups to backup based on which are read write. Is it a read write or read? Right. So that's the file group backup, partial backup. Okay. So any questions on that one? Okay, this is read-only file groups is a part of no, this is just the file groups are at the database level. So you can have a database which has a read-only file group and which we could add to a availability group. So that's the like you could add it to that. So Naveen, I didn't get your exact question. What is that you're trying to ask? Can you just ask me? Okay. Right. So if you just want to type again, I'll just try and answer that question. No, no, this, okay. The read only I'm mentioning is about the file groups. So in a database, yeah, so a read only replica in availability group is a different concept altogether. As Yeah, it's a different thing. Uh, and while I'm talking about within the database, you have file groups. So let me show you. So let me go ahead and let me show you so that it's clear. Right now, my database, none of them. So let me just load up. Right. So I have this database. Yeah, this one. So if I go right click on this, right, this is not in an availability group, right? This is just a standalone database. If I go into file groups, right, here you can specify which file groups is read only. This is what I was talking about, read only file groups. So this is there where you specify. This is my file group 2, which is read only. So I cannot whatever objects I create on this file group, people can only read from them. It will not be allowing any inserts and updates. So that is the concept of your read only file group. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Great. That's great. Thanks, everyone. So we'll go on to the next one. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So we'll just do last, and then we'll just drop off because the meeting will end, and then we can join back. Right. So now I will talk about copy-only backups. These backups are like special backups. They do not disturb your restore sequence, so they do not uh, reset the differential bit that I talked about earlier in the differential backups. So these are useful for ad hoc backups, and they work with full and transactional log backups. So that's all. These are usually useful when you want to take ad hoc backups. You want to give it to your developers. If some of your friends want to take it, so this is quite useful. I will show you this demo. Interesting how they work and how they don't reset your differential bit. So I'll just go back to the demo again. Let's close this. Right. Let's jump in here. So what I have is, so mm, let's close this. Okay. So right, this is the command to take a copy only backup. I'll just show if you want. So you just need to say with copy only. So that's the command. So that will take a copy only backup. That's will take. Now I'll just show you how it works. How does it? It doesn't break the log chain that I was talking about. So we'll just create a database called my test 4, right? So I'm just creating that database, right? I've created that database. Now I will take a full backup of that, right? And now we'll check the LSN of this. So, okay, so, right, let's end the backup type, right? So we'll run these two commands. So this is the differential base. So whenever you, in the full backup, it will have the differential base LSN. So from where it will uh, start taking, like starting in the full differential backup and where it starts. It has to start the differential backup, which differential backup it has to use. That's, it will know. SQL Server will know. So I only have a full backup, and the lesson of the full backup and the differential is the same right now because I have not taken any differential backups. So that's what now if I go, and then what happens is now if your friend goes in and takes a full backup, right? Again, full backup with no change, right? So now if I run this and run this one, if you look at that, the differential base LSN was 264, and now you don't know about it, right? You take a differential backup and then you start try and restore it, and you don't have you will not be able to restore it because your differential backup is been set to look at this number, while the backup you have full backup is here. So your differential backup will not work. So that's how it has broken the differential chain. So your differential backup chain is affected whenever you take a full backup. So in that case, you take a copy only backup. So I'll show you how that works. What we do. Now what we do is we ask your friend to take a copy only backup. So now let's go. So just remember this. This is our log sequence number 48. So I'll just copy this and keep it there. Okay. This is what we have, right? So now we take a copy only backup, right? So if I run now again, this command, right? So if you look, the differential base as LSN is still at 384011. That is what it was earlier. Even though I have taken a backup, it has not been reset. So, and this backup is showing me third backup I took last one is a copy only backup. So it has now, if you have a differential backup, anytime after this backup, you can restore. Otherwise, you would, after this backup, you won't be able to restore your differential backup. So this is how, this is why it is important to take copy only backups when you just need it for an ad hoc kind of situation. So this is how the copy only backups work. Any questions on that? Right. Okay. So yeah, we'll go on. I have just one more thing to show. So then, oh yeah, there are two more things. So shall we drop off and join back again? So I wanted to show the Ola Haligren backup scripts, how to set them up and how they work, and also how we can speed up our backups. There are two things just left to take 10 minutes maximum. So shall we join that? I'll drop off and start this meeting again. Does that sound fine? Okay. All right. So, okay. So we'll just join again in another 2 minutes. I'll just stop my sharing and stop recording. Okay. So we'll just join in 2 minutes.